CPG packaging definitely impacts sales. Go to any grocery store, convenience store, or specialty supplement retailer, and you'll see shelves that are stocked with similar products from different brands. While presented maybe a tad bit differently on the digital shelf, the same can be essentially said when searching for CPG products on an e commerce marketplace like Amazon. Your CPG brand has, on average, a few seconds to make a good impression before the customer moves on to the next option. Effective and appealing packaging design not only makes it likely for one product to be chosen over its alternatives, but also reflects on the values of the brand. This is what makes packaging design just as important as the product itself. It has major influence over the buying decisions of consumers. At its core, packaging refers to the way in which the product is enclosed for sale. But in kind of a broader context, product packaging refers to the whole process of designing, manufacturing, and marketing a product. Considerations for great CPG packaging should surround the kind of following areas. First is around like sales, like which packaging is most likely to persuade shoppers to choose your product. Secondly, is around shelf presence. And this is like which packaging helps break through the shelf clutter and makes it easy to find your products. Thirdly, brand equity, which packaging most effectively communicates key benefits and maximizes product perceptions. And then finally, aesthetics. Which package do shoppers like the best? Now, I'm assuming there's going to be like two audiences to this content. First, those that are interested in launching a CPG product, or secondly, those that maybe already own a CPG brand and want to conduct a packaging refresh or go through an extensive rebrand process. Each audience will gain immense value from this content, obviously, but I wouldn't be a strategy consultant that just so happens to make content if I didn't at least cover the downside risk for that second audience. When CPG brands make changes to their packaging, they want to improve perceptions about certain product features such as taste, health, or other trending characteristics. The goal when making these significant and visible changes is typically to enhance brand equity first, and then any assumed increase in sales over the near term is just kind of like icing on the cake. But that being said, you can't pay your suppliers with increased brand equity, monopoly money. You need to generate sales, and changing a package design can be quite risky. Though every CPG brand that I've ever talked to assumes this wouldn't happen to them, packaging refreshes or rebrands can harm sales and or cause the product to lose shelf presence. The point I'm trying to make here is that yes, CBG packaging refreshes can increase persuasive sway in order to land in more shopping carts, but it isn't a guarantee. So it requires a strategic dive into the reasons for a reinvention. Here are a few examples of why you might want to look at a packaging refresh or a larger rebrand. Firstly, kind of like, is your product packaging outdated? If it's been several years since you've redesigned your brand packaging and your sales are kind of lackluster, then your packaging design may be overdue for an update. Customer tastes do change with each passing year, and they may view some of your designs as stale. Secondly, have you changed the product's formula? If you've improved upon an existing product and the result is that it now has added benefits that make it more appealing, then it's imperative that you communicate this on the package in a visually bold way. And then finally, how competitive is your product category? Are like legacy brands reinventing their packaging to maybe like whet some of the consumer shifting appetites? Are new brands gaining market share for their minimalist packaging or maybe bold graphic design? Okay, so knowing all this, what are kind of 10 CPG packaging trends that I believe you should be paying attention to right now? Firstly, is going to be connected packaging. Now, QR codes were pretty much put out to pasture, and then bam, like 2020 hit, and then they are honestly like ubiquitous across culture now. Connected packaging offers a world of possibilities for engaging with consumers by delivering marketing opportunities like promotions or building loyalty programs, but also they are excellent for easily distributing product source information to consumers, aka maybe increased transparency around your supply chain. Secondly, is this trend around anti bland or maximalism. Maximalist designs are proudly loud and elaborately detailed. For this reason, they stand out in a minimalist era. Why go understated and subtle when you can dazzle your way to the consumer's consciousness? Maximalist designs often work with vibrant color, texture, rich motifs, flashy typography, and visual and packaging novelties like optical illusions or kind of unusual shapes. Maximalism takes you on a journey with your attention moving from one point of interest to the next. The bland look is also associated with millennials, definitely guilty of that, whom a lot of the brands today are no longer chasing as Gen Z kind of comes into its spending power. Thirdly, is going to be a trend around mischievous illustrations and characters. I think this trend provides a conscious kind of nod to the viewer with its childlike drawings and teeters on the edge of meme culture with its humorous style. This isn't totally a new packaging trend, but illustration is becoming more popular. CPG brands are also using this trend to build more collaborations with artists, including some from underrepresented populations. Brands are also being thoughtful about sourcing those partners and bringing them into the overall brand storytelling. I also think this trend will play into the future of the CPG industry with Web3, NFTs, and the metaverse. Fourth kind of trend I want to talk about is the 1990s aesthetics. And depending on your fashion sense, maybe age or the age of your children, it might not be too much of a shocker that the 1990s are back in. As Gen Z muscles out millennials to become the brand's primary target, 1990s aesthetics are coming back in a big way. Consumers want to have a good time right now, and that decade encompassed a wide array of aesthetics from bright colored geometric patterns, some boxy lettering, to edgier styles inspired by skateboard and rave culture. You also had grunge come in into the late 90s and really kind of cancel out all the early's like good vibes seemingly overnight. Fifth trend is around clean, simple claims. Now, third party certifications are great, but CPG packaging kind of looks like a NASCAR with all of those little like sponsor stickers on the car. So when that car is going around the track, spectators can't really see those little small stickers. Similarly, when packaging gets too cluttered with certifications, they end up meaning nothing to the consumer. To combat this, CPG brands will start to move away from slapping really every claim on the front of pack and focusing on just those that matter most to their audience. The sixth CPG packaging trend I want to talk about is that imperfection in raw materials. Now, earthy, imperfect textures remind consumers where brands are getting their materials from. It's really a must for brands that want to push their eco friendly ethos and tap into the consumer consciousness with the climate crisis. As the CPG industry is rapidly changing to favor brands with sustainability at the core of their offerings, ethical and compostable packaging is one of the many things you can do as a brand to show you're serious about your sustainable positioning. Seventh trend is one off launches. With the CPG industry starting to embrace drop culture, such as developing seasonal lines, one off flavors, or one time collaborations with influencers, brands are given allowance to break from their established brand identities to create something completely different. Thanks to the continued lowering of barriers of entry in packaging and manufacturing, such limited time launches are much easier to execute and a lot less risky than they used to be. The eighth CPG packaging trend that I want to talk about is surrounding e commerce ready package. E commerce has hit a tipping point. That channel shift creates more demands on the package. Just take any grocery item, it could be maybe pasta sauce in a rigid container or rice in a flexible package. Everything that the items package does in a traditional brick and mortar retail channel, it has to do in the e commerce channel and then some. The package needs to be stronger to protect against the demands of the kind of fulfillment element of the e commerce channel. With the packaging really becoming the shipper in some cases, CPG brands should consider the unboxing experience too, right? The ninth trend I want to talk about is unique packaging structures. Yes, the supply chain challenges will continue to beleaguer the CPG industry. Yes, the packaging industry's just in time model has contributed to its current woes. But all that kind of being said, I still think revamping classic packaging shapes and sizes to stand out from competitors is a fruitful endeavor. New concepts of structure coupled with innovations in materials and technologies can shift consumer perceptions of the physical form and steer new directions for CPG brands. Now, the final trend I want to talk about is around transparent packaging. People appreciate it when CPG brands are honest and transparent. Successful brands have embraced this philosophy. Packaging should thoroughly and clearly list the ingredients in your product. It should also mention if the product contains ingredients that might be harmful to some people. It could also be through the use of clear windows for its ability to highlight contents and capture attention. Transparency can also include using product packaging to tell your brand story. For example, if your company actively participates in social issues like climate change, use product packaging to share why that topic is essential to your brand. Transparent packaging design creates a sense of trust and connection to your brand. So, I just want to end on some quick final thoughts. While this was a piece of content about trends, I should remind you that these should never be considered hard and fast rules. The key to success in CPG packaging lies in the ability to know who your brand truly is at its core, as well who it is targeting. Packaging, along with the larger brand strategy, needs to be authentic. So, when looking at trends, companies must think how they align with the brand they are trying to build and the products that they offer. If you're just searching for trends, ultimately you will be a bit behind and not look like yourself. I hope you enjoyed this YouTube video. If you did, hit that like button to support me. Also, help me get to my short term goal of 2,000 subscribers by hitting the subscribe button. I'd love to see you join me on this journey, but we need to fix the fact that slightly more than 80% of you that are watching this YouTube video right now are not subscribed to my channel, and that makes me extremely sad. But I do want to thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.